Welcome once again, audience. Today we will be focusing more on career, and the series will also focus on career. But today we have a special guest. I think it's best that he describe this. But thank you, Andrew, for joining me.
Hi, Werner. Hello, everyone.
Yeah, welcome. Yes, I think it's best that you give a very basic rundown of what your career would be described as.
Right. I'm a civil engineer, and I work in the field of transportation engineering. And that's what I do.
So, civil engineering. What would you say, in like very broad terms, would be for studying, but also like skills that you should acquire on your own? What would be necessary to become a civil engineer?
Right. So they're quite strict requirements in terms of becoming a civil engineer. I think to start off with, it's absolutely vital that you do maths and science at high school, because those are the entry criteria when you want to go study at university or technikon. And then you need to do one of the a university degree or a technikon degree, and thereafter you have to work for a number of years in the industry, and then you do a board exam essentially, and then you are registered as a professional engineer. So it's a long road, but yeah, I think maths and science is an absolutely vital skills to have.
Apart from becoming a civil engineer on paper, what would you say are the skills that you've learned over the course of your life that you've learned through trial and error that help you as an adult or as a functioning member of society in your career?
What's quite critical is being able to think logically. So logical thinking, systematic thinking, that's quite important. Being able to visualize things in 3D is quite an important skill. Being able to draw helps a lot with that. I think, and just to sort of interest in how the world around you works is also very useful. It's kind of what makes the job exciting.
What would you describe as the typical assortment of personalities or people that you engage with very regularly to do your job?
So let's just go back to what a civil engineer is. I mean, the word civil engineer comes from the word civilian. So we're engineers for the people.
So you're not just being a very polite engineer.
No, it's not. It's not just a polite engineer. It's we're so in history, sort of military engineering was inherently for military purposes, whereas civil engineering is for civilians, i.e. for people. You know, you get some engineers who sit in an office and never see the sunlight and do maths and don't talk to people a lot of the time, but you also get people, engineers who deal with people quite a lot of the time, and that's for most of us. But what one deals with, you deal with environmentalists, you deal with property people, you deal with economists, you deal with financial side of things, you deal with quantity surveyors, you deal with people who actually are in construction. You deal with, there's such a broad scope of people that you deal with, and that's what makes the job interesting.
Would you say what attracted you to civil engineering has stayed the same over the years?
Part of the attraction, well, when I grew up, I always wanted to be a water engineer. I wanted to build large dams, and that was my dream. But through my studies, I became more and more interested in the transportation and infrastructure side of civil engineering. Being able to see your creation at the end of the day is really quite a rewarding experience. and knowing you had a part in making it happen is pretty cool. And also the sort of the construction equipment and the construction process and seeing that all happen is also pretty exciting. So those are the things that attracted me. But I think knowing that one's work has a difference, makes a difference, and optimize and make elegant designs is quite exciting. And sort of the cost effectiveness and the economic impact is pretty cool.
So it sounds to me like it's a job that requires a lot of teamwork, and I guess in that teamwork you find a lot of satisfaction and a lot of satisfaction that solves a lot of problems for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
And I guess it's worth finding satisfaction in the broader scope of what you're doing. What would you say is the type of problem solving that you, in your position, deal with more often than not?
The obvious part of the problem solving is to find a technical solution to the problem. And that's kind of what you get taught to do in university. Finding a economically feasible solution is more of what I deal with now. So there's often, there's often more than one solution. But looking at it in terms of what is the longer term impact? What are the maintenance costs over this over the solution's lifetime? What is the environmental impact? What is the social impact? Looking at not just what is today's construction cost of say 3 solutions, but what is the life cycle cost of those 3 solutions? So what is their longer term impact? So that's what I deal with now, and that it's incredibly intriguing, but also quite it comes with its own challenges.
It's at this point, I guess, where you don't have anybody that can guide you as to how to do your job. It's where you're kind of on your own in terms of every aspect of literally creating a new civic, what do you call it, a public structure, if I were to call it like that.
Look, I think I work with a team of experts, but there are often times when one is faced with a problem that none of them have faced before, and you have to have a solution. But to work in a vacuum on your own is also quite dangerous. So it's good to work with a team and be able to just have your ideas filtered by people who look at things from a slightly different angle.
In that sense, then, you have an enormous amount of creative freedom within the confines of reality and physical cost and maintenance of something.
While there's a lot of maths and science and sort of hard calculations and computer simulations and measurements and very defined parameters, there's also a lot of creativity you've got to put that creativity in to come up with solutions that are actually going to work. And you've also got to have the sort of tenacity to try things and the determination to kind of push it through and see if it can be a solution, and if you can make sure it's going to be a reliable solution. And that makes the job pretty interesting because it's not just cookie cutter type of situations. You've got to come up with a unique solution to each challenge, and that's what keeps the job interesting every day.
Considering all of this, is what would you say? Would you say the distractions you have in your life, or what helps your creativity, or would you say your distractions give you some type of creative expression that you don't find at work?
It's important to have a healthy work and life balance. So as an engineer, you're going to work hard. So it's important to kind of balance that with playing hard as well. So to have some hobbies and some interests that take you away from the office and put you in a different sort of headspace. And actually that kind of separation from your work is really important, because it kind of gives your brain a chance to chew over the issues of the day, and actually, kind of that does stimulate the creativity, and often you'll leave work in the evening with a problem that you've been grappling with for a while, and you haven't found a solution to, and in the morning when you've faced the problem fresh, you actually come to a solution quite quickly. So having some things outside of work life is totally important.
Okay. And I think what would you say, just for interest's sake, what are your distractions that you regularly go to find the most relaxation or most shutting down of your brain for the day?
Right. I think the exercise is good, although currently with the lockdown and winter and things like that, I'm not doing as much as I like.
Yeah, I'm wearing, on camera you couldn't see this, but I'm wearing very warm clothes at the moment. I can see you are too. That is why South Africa is a very cold place at the moment for anybody else watching. But yeah, I get very jealous when I see other people online with next to nothing on their arms, and it's like, thanks guys.
Well, it's their turn for summer, so that's so a bit of exercise is good, and sort of I enjoy sort of watching documentaries and things not related to my work, but just interesting sort of learning things. I enjoy being outdoors, so cycling or running does that for me. I enjoy hiking. I have a small vegetable garden, which is also a nice escape. Those are things I also enjoy. Music and art and those sorts of things too, when I get a chance.
What would you say if you were to choose one that would to give you the most quality relaxation and quality refreshing of your creative noodle?
I would have to say hiking, Werner. Hiking is really a good way to recharge. Unfortunately, I can't go and do it as often as I'd like, but that is really the best way to reset for me.
Yeah, I just know that you like simulator games, and especially planes, and I don't know what else. So I just know you have a pretty rigorous setup there, and a very, very thick manual, to say the least.
Right. Yeah, I enjoy flight sim as one of my escapes as well, and I have a civilian flight simulator and a combat flight simulator, and both of them are pretty cool and nice escape.
Yeah, well, albeit virtual, but I find those to be one of the most. I'd rather listen to somebody else's story in their own direction than think of new things to say or new things to do in my own creative space, especially now with lockdown periods being as they are. Thank you for joining, audience. This was just a quick career dive session, and thank you, Andrew, for joining. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And yes, thank you once again, audience. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share this video with everyone you know, especially those thinking of becoming a civil engineer or building buildings or anything to do with Lego, especially. But yes,